Well, fancy meeting you here. I'm in the middle of putting some ball bearings in this transmission for the TRX4M and figured we'll just do it together. So if you've been following along with the saga of the TRX4M, you will know that you get an extra aftermarket transmission and they come with ball bearings in there. And that makes it to where it's pretty difficult to tell the difference between drag brakes on different motor or any performance differences. As you may be able to see here, there are bronze bushings inside of the stock transmission that I just took out of this rig, this roller here. It's super rolly now. And I got some ball bearings from Fast Eddy. So what I would like to do is replace them. And boy, these are tiny ball bearings. I don't know if I've seen something so tiny. I don't really have a lot of mini rigs though, to tell you the truth. So this is a complete bearing kit. This is enough for the axles and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I am simply going to replace the ones in the transmission. That way we can at least have even Steven for all these rigs, at least for an initial run through. And then on, I believe this one, what I'm gonna do is I have this low ratio transmission. You can see I put an L, maybe you can't see on the camera, but I put an L on there so that I remember and realize that it's a low ratio transmission. And then I have the 66 turn motor on there, which will be just fast enough to offset that low ratio, hopefully. I haven't tested it myself, but feedback from customers tells us that it is almost identical to that normal transmission with the 87 turn, which is exactly what I would have wanted if I knew they were coming out with a low ratio kit first. But I didn't know, so this was just a happy coincidence that it worked out that way. All right, so I'm going to be extra careful taking these out in a certain order so I will remember. Now, getting these bushings out may be a little bit of a problem. Normally I have a little pick that I get in there. I think I took it back to the shop. Of course, as usual, I'm not fully prepared for this. So what you can do is maybe come into the side and pry them out. These, we'll see. We'll find out. A little set of, yeah. See, I'm going to run these actually, scoring them with this. And I'm probably going to run my side shears as well. But otherwise, what I'd recommend is just a little plier or something like that to wiggle these out. Maybe I could look in my stash underneath. Oh, this one I can actually push out from the outside. So I'll do that. Boop. Let's see, is there any other way? There's really no good way to get at these, to tell you the truth, without, oh, I can just pry them sideways, ruining the tip on this probably. It's not made for that. It's not made for this at all. There's really no good way to get them out, I guess. We can't go through the backside. I mean, I could drill a hole in the case and get them out that way, but otherwise you're kind of limited to. Yeah, I'll just see if I can. I think I have my little mini pliers hiding down here. And now this is sharp enough to get underneath the edge. This is a body reamer. This is a really old XTM, very abused body reamer that I broke the tip off of and resharpened. So don't really feel bad trying to run this with the tip breaking off. There we go. I got underneath it. Just need to make sure that I don't ruin the bearing seat. So as I pull it out, I want to make sure I don't scrape up that side. But this is moving, it's going. Definitely the worst way to pry it out like that, but you know, we work with what we have sometimes. There we go, nice and easy on that one. This one we can get at from the back side, so there we go, pop. And then the other two, I'm just going around the edge and kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And it'll slowly work its way out. Oh, you got anything new in your life going on? Let me know in the comments. As you have probably seen, I am working, hey, that popped it out. I'm working on the Hobby House version 2. We are in the final stretch of the bathroom. Right now my buddy's over there getting the subfloor ready for a new flange placement. The flange was just, it was ate up. It was a really nice old cast iron one, but it was in extremely bad condition, very rusty, and also needed to be, it didn't need to be moved, but while we're redoing the whole bathroom, figure might as well move the toilet a little bit to make it more convenient. Then once we get done with that, it'll be throwing the tub in, tiling the floors, and then reinstalling the sink. I've been doing all the water and the demolition. It's been a while since I did any soldering work with water. I've been kind of using PEX on the last few projects, but I'm using copper over there. Well, these bearings just slip right in. And in the meantime, until we get done, I just capped off everything. I wonder if that's actually a different size bearing, because that is, we've got metal shielded and we have rubber shielded. Oh no, the metal shielded are too big, so I guess it's the rubber shielded for inside the transmission. Let's see, where was I? Talking about the project, that's right. So I've been doing the soldering on there, and nice to know that my pipe soldering skills are still good. So far, I haven't had a failure yet, which is really nice. Well, we did have one failure. I did a shark bite to cap a 1/2 inch line, and I guess it wasn't quite pressed on all the way, and we got a lot of water in there. But fortunately, you know, you got somebody outside, you got somebody inside, and you yell, "Turn off the water!" But it's still got a lot of water all over the place, because our shutoff here, instead of being a 1/4 turn, is like a 3/4 of a turn or something like that. And it's really old and stiff, so it, you know, in the 15 seconds that it took to turn it back off, a lot of water got in there, so that was a little bit of a cleanup. But my solder joints were good. All the caps that I did soldering, those were fine. All right, so there we go. This one first, this one second, and the third one third. How about that? How about it? Hey, is that the right way? I think it is. Cool. Then we put it back together. And now we'll hopefully be able to see with the stock motor and ball bearings. Of course, these are different ball bearings than the ones that came in the aftermarket transmissions. So we'll see how that goes. They may have a little bit different rolling resistance. The ESC may not even have enough power to apply more drag brake. I need to get this. Hello.
Good morning, John. It's Anna in Phyllis Nichols' office.
Morning.
Good morning.
What can I do for you?
We talked yesterday. Well, we talked about the Pennant Street house yesterday. You said you were going to eventually tear down Pershing.
Pershing, yeah, the other house that butts up to it.
We have like a business, like we have that as your commercial business's location. So are you going to move that to Pennant?
Yeah, technically the YouTube studio is going to move into Pennant for a short period of time, and then when I rebuild, I'll move it right back. So I will be in there, and also YouTube will be in there. So that's up to you on how you want to classify it.
All right, that's all I needed.
Alrighty, thank you much.
Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
Bye. Insurance. All right, so I got it back together. We got the ball bearings on the inside, and I am going to go ahead and put on our outputs. Say that 5 times fast. Put on our outputs. Put on our outputs. Do you put on your outputs? Then I'm going to drop this transmission into one of the rigs, and then I suppose it's time to test. And we'll just get out that slant board and we'll do a quick test. I just want to see if they roll at the same rate now. They should, but of course, things don't always work out as planned. But I'm hoping that this time it does. There we go. Cool. Now, real quick like, this will be the one Move that out of the side. This is the one. This has got our aftermarket motor. That's the 88 turn. This is the 66 turn, and this will be our stock. There we go. We're just getting piles of bodies here. Oh yeah, my favorite thing. You know, I guess for this test, it would be quickest to put it back into that. So that's, oh, this one has a different body. This one has a different body, so it won't be apples to apples. Okay, I'll continue my course. I really want this to be at least an initial apples to apples comparison. And the only way to do that is to have the same body, the same everything. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll just do a quick swappy swap of this transmission. Real quick, like I'm sure. There we go. Get that out of the way. I'm getting pretty good at swapping transmissions, at least. And I recognize all the screws. All right, let's see. What was I talking about before I was so rudely interrupted by finishing the transmission? Talking about things. Oh yes, new things. Let's see. Hobby House 2.0. Finishing up on the inside. Yesterday, after thoroughly wearing myself out, working on the inside, I started working on the outside some. And there was a bunch of trash just laying around on the outside in the yard. Just all kinds of trash. About a 35-gallon trash bin full of random parts and a bunch of Alpo bags and like just microplastics all over the yard. And I started messing around and found some concrete in the backyard. And I knew that there was, you know, like you walk out of the back door and there was a little screened-in porch and there's like a little patio area, but the patio didn't seem to be very big. But I started kind of scraping it off a little bit here and there. And it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going. And it turns out that there is something like a 15 by 15 concrete patio in the backyard that was just, it was covered under at least a half a foot of black dirt and a whole bunch of winter creeper vines on top of all that. So I just took a really nice weed eater and kind of weed eated all the edges down, found it. It's edged with brick, which was kind of cool. I could just like follow the red brick underneath. These bronze bushings that came out of the transmission are magnetic, which means they have steel in them. Bronze bushings shouldn't have steel in them. Iron. Yeah, that's weird. Shouldn't have that, but you know, this was made to a price point, so there might be some concessions on the exact purity of the materials used. All right, let's see if I can slip this drive shaft in. Yeah, that was pretty cool though, finding that very large patio out back. So that has me a little hyped up. It's really neat kind of unearthing all the stuff. You know, of course in that house there's a lot of problems that were caused by, I'm assuming, the previous owner trying to fix things up and not really being a fix-it type of person. But then you can see where somebody in years past really cared for that yard. There's a whole bunch of big rocks in the yard, like river rocks, big river rocks, you know, the size of my head and bigger, where somebody just spent a lot of time landscaping and playing around the yard. Really cool to kind of find those sorts of things. It's like excavation of the past. All right, I am only going to put in 2 of these. 2? Yeah, maybe I'll just do them all, because this rig can just keep the stock motor, stock setup, stock electronics, everything, and then I'll start upgrading the other ones. We will keep one stock rig. And then when we go crawling, I'll get the high performance one. I did pick up a couple of other Traxxas accessories. The brass wheel and bead lock. I only got bead locks for the front, so the rear wheels won't match the front. I don't personally care. But they had the brass rings that you can throw in there to get some forward weight bias. I figured that'd be kind of neat. I'm sure there'll be other companies, and there are other companies making weighted wheels and things like that. But just for ease, I was already there at the shop and picked them up. So we'll see. I'm sure that this will really do a lot better with some extra weight on the front. There we go, nice and tight, but not too tight. Then our battery tray, and we're good. Yeah, so let's see, what else is new? What else is new? Well, we came out with these motors, finally. These aftermarket motors. Y'all seem to be very excited about those. They are flying off the shelves as fast as we can put them on. We should see them in a main soon. If you don't, maybe you should email them and ask them. Tell them that that's something that you would like to see them carry. Because they're a really good vendor that supports our hobby. They've got employees that love to crawl, and out of any larger vendors, they certainly push the crawling harder than most, which is kind of cool to see. And crawling, scale rigs and all that is admittedly a very large portion of the market. Well, I didn't route this through like I guess I could have, but maybe I can still do it. Let's see. Oh, it barely fits. It barely fits. Cool. Well, that'll keep our wiring clean at least. Then, all right. Hey, look at that. We are ready. So to start out, or to finish this video, I'm going to put the slant board up real quick, and we'll just do a powered off going down there. We'll make sure that our rolling resistance is at least similar for these rigs, and then we will do a different video with a lot more tests, which I'm excited about. So there we go. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, we'll need this guy. Don't put this away. All right, so here is our stock one. Here is the ball bearing version. We've got the battery in there, so they weigh the same. It is plugged in, and these are not going to be turned on. So we'll just see if now, because as you remember in the last video, the one that had the stock bushings rolled extremely slow, at least in comparison to the one that had the ball bearings. So that is what I'm going to try to test. So we'll just give them a little 1, 2, 3, boop. Well, it still rolls a lot faster. All right. Oh yeah, boy, we're going. And this might be the brass bushing versus, or the brass pinion versus the plastic pinion as well. There's just enough things, because I can tell you that my motor is harder to turn over by hand, but with all the gear reduction on this, if there's just a little difference in our pinion mesh, oh yeah, well it's a lot. You can see I pick it up and it just stops spinning. Whoop. Whereas this one, it free coasts. You can even hear it. So a lot freer spinning for some reason. I replaced the ball bearings inside the transmission. Otherwise, it's all bushings. I can see that it's all bushings. The only thing left is the brass pinion versus the plastic pinion. And I'm not going to install a plastic pinion on there. So unfortunately, it looks like we can't do a real apples to apples drag brake comparison, because I can't seem to figure out how to get the rolling resistance with a stock motor to be anywhere near as free spinning as with my motor. Oh well, that's what we get, I suppose. Sometimes it doesn't always work out as we planned, but at least I'll have higher efficiency in that particular one, and now I can at least do the regular ratio transmission versus the low ratio with a 66 turn motor, and we're going to see, at least on that, how much better the drag brake is. So we will shoot another video. I'm going to do a little bit more testing. I'll put the bodies on, and we will figure out what is going on with these as best as we can. So if you got any questions, put them down below. As always, thanks for tuning in and have a great day.